The genius of this track is lying in the pause between those notes.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head.
Hi, I'm Francois from Production Music Live, today with Producer Notes, and we're taking a look at the style of Oskar Mad K, an upcoming Norwegian producer who has nice chill melodic house vibes and has been doing great at promoting his tracks via Insta and has amassed a lot of players on Spotify. So we have a fully arranged track here only using Ableton stock effects and instruments plus Serum, here modeled after the track Make Me Feel. Different chords, different melodies, different vocals, different sounds as inputs here from PML sound packs. For example, this Afterglow Melodic House Sound Pack. This one is what we are using here. And we have different groups, drums, bass, instruments, and vocals. And the arrangement starts with an intro. And then goes over to bring in the bass.
Can't get you out of my head.
And also a bit of vocals down here. Close this. And then we are entering a break after like 40 seconds.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
Which is kind of the main theme, the main hook of this song. This is what makes the song. And then we drop in the drums.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
And then building them up a bit more. And then while the vocals are singing something here, they're more dreamy here in the background. And then we are already like a minute and a half in and repeating the pattern one more time. It's a short track here, like 4 minutes. Well, not that short, but short for the club. And then we are bringing the break again, which is kind of a copy of this part.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
And then we're bringing in the analog bass part for this sort of build-up thing here.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
And then afterwards we have like 4 repetitions of the pattern here for the second drop, which is already starting with all the hi-hats and percussions available. But it also gives you the satisfaction of not playing the vocals here, so you can hear the full instrumental once with all the beats below, and then we're bringing in the vocal, and then we're back bringing in those bridgy vocals here at the end. Then we go into an outro where, you know, same as the intro, somebody could mix in the next track as a DJ. Okay, and then we have a quick group analysis. So we have the drums group here. That's what it sounds like. We'll go through it in a minute, and this is what the bass sounds like. Offbeat bass with 8th notes, and we have another one here, the analog bass. And this one follows the same pattern as the instruments that come below here. So and they are then layered in the main part when this bass is gone, and these fifths that you could maybe hear in that bass are missing. We are introducing this lower element below our keys. And then we're mixing that with this sound. So this is how the sound is being put together, and you maybe noticed this is actually 2 notes here. This is playing fifths. Okay, then we have a simple riser effect here in our effects group, the simplest you can find. And then we go on to the vocals group where we have our main vocal.
Can't get you out of my head.
And then a tail delay. And then we have this bridge vocal where we are sending this to the left and the other one to the right. And we have this interplay. So no pads, no Atmos. You could argue that these are serving as our Atmos here, but this is like, we have 25 tracks here. We have a bunch of stuff already grouped. So this is very little elements to achieving a great sound here. And it's kind of one of those more minimalistic sounds where less is more. And I would argue that the genius of this track is lying in the simplicity of this pattern here and also in the pause between those notes. So if we just listen to this part here, focus on these pauses.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head.
This is what makes the track. You have these pauses. If you would play this pattern fully through, it wouldn't sound as interesting, but having these pauses and then having that vocal come in, you know, you have the main instrument here and then you have the vocal coming here in the second bar where we're just playing these little blips, and that's where the main focus of the vocal is. So you have this call and response pattern here, and this is really what makes this track and this style. Now you have some super nice sounds and a super nice vocal, and you don't really need more elements now. You just have this rim shot here playing the clap position.
Can't get you out of my head.
And there is your track. You open up the filters a little bit here, but this is nothing super important, just the usual stuff. This is how this style works. And that's what I'd argue makes it a hit. All right, so let's have a quick look at the drums here. I'm going into this part where we are playing our kick. Let's listen to the kick first. A deep kick sound, which is also part of this pack here. We have a sound pack called Afterflow with project files, a sample pack and Serum presets in there. So excellent stuff to use as a toolkit. And we're combining this kick together with the rim shot here. And we're rolling off a lot of high end. We don't want this higher information here. We're then mixing in this clap, which comes a bit early, as you can see here in the positioning of this MIDI. So it kind of whooshes into the rim. That's super important for the overall groove. And then we are introducing some hi-hats, but mainly offbeat hi-hats. So this is a simple closed offbeat hi-hat here. Don't make it too long. Use one that has a natural end to it, but also a bit of crunch on top. And then this gets combined with this little hat loop here, but this one also has the offbeat position emphasized and a little bit of a click on the kick position. So let's listen to it all together. So you can notice this hi-hat loop really has an impact on the overall brightness of the sound. Okay, and then we have this hi-hat loop on top. Just, you know, acting a bit like a shaker. like slightly late and filling in the gaps, but not too much. This is already almost our entire drumming here. So 16th notes that is. And then we have this perk element here. What is this doing? A snap from the Premium Volume 9, our drum sample pack series, and then heavily EQ'd here to roll out or off high frequencies. And every now and then it's sitting on top of the rimshot position and then emphasizing this pre-clap here. And then it lets the pattern go through and then repeats again. So it only does this every second time. If I'm soloing this one, ever so slightly emphasizing that rimshot position. So the whole drum group together. Okay, and then we have this top kick here for the beginning and the end of the track, where we just have the lows rolled off. Okay, and that's the drumming. Very straightforward, just a bunch of tracks here. And now let's go over to the bass line, which is this 8th notes bass line here. And actually, I would say we are in G flat, so minor. So you have 8 notes. If I'm setting it to 16s, you can see that very easily. And we have them heavily sidechained. And we are playing B minor, D major, then we are playing G flat minor, and then A major here. You'll see that in the leads in a second as well. And what is happening with the sound? We are using Serum or Serum 2, both works. And we are using the ICANN has kick wave here, and another time the ICANN has kick with more unison. This one has just one voice down there, and this one is making it a bit wider. And then we are sending it through an 18 decibels low pass filter. Nothing totally crazy. And then this ducking device here is sidechaining it to our kicks. Okay, let's take a look at the other bass sound here, which is called bass analog and has this erosion here at the end. By the way, if I'm turning this off. And we can see this is heavily sidechained. It mainly plays with kick 1 here. It's always overlaid with it there and also here in the end. So it picks up the sidechain from that one. Let's take a look at the sound. So this one has an inherent fifth swinging with it, and we have it sitting between the sine wave and the square wave here. And what else is going on? We have in the matrix, we have the mod wheel controlling the sub level and envelope 1 controlling the filter frequency, which is an MG low 18 decibels per octave filter. Here we are trimming 8 decibels, increasing the low end a little and sending it through these side chains here. This auto filter is being used for arrangement purposes in the build-up part here, so it has less low end towards the drop. And then the erosion adds that crisp on top.
Can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head.
And the notes are sitting in these positions.
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
And we have a groove applied. If I were to emphasize this one, you can see these are a little late, and this is super important. If we have this on grid, it sounds a bit boring, but if we are applying this groove here, you can see this is a bit off, this is a bit off, and these are a bit longer than, I'm quickly going to undo the application of the group. Just look at the notes. They're getting a bit shorter, and they're sitting on grid, super quantized. But if I'm applying the groove, they're not that quantized anymore here in a couple of these positions, and that is also super important and makes this track much more groovy.
Can't get you out of my head.
Okay, let's go on to the next element sitting on top of all of this. In the instruments group, we have overall sidechaining going on here, just so you know what's happening on the group. And we have a bit of soft clipping here. But let's go to the first sound and see what this one is doing. This almost sounds too simple to be true from the sound design perspective, but it's a simple saw wave here sent through an MG low 24 decibels per octave filter, and we are adding a bit of noise on top. And then we also have the mod wheel controlling the filter frequency. This is what's happening here every now and then. And also the envelope to sustain, so it makes the sustain of this envelope a bit longer, and this envelope 2 in return controls the filter frequency again. So opening it up. Here you notice how the filter is opening up, and this is sitting a fifth on top of what the bass notes are playing. So this is actually your bass, so imagine this one, you know, an octave lower. We're playing B minor, D major, G flat minor, and A major. And they're sitting right on top of one another. And there's your sound. This together with the kick and the rim, that's the sound. Okay, and if we go into this draw part where we're not playing this fuzzy bass, we are playing the eighth note bass for the overall groove, but now this would not be enough together if I'm playing these elements. That's why we need this key low element here to fill out the gaps. Because now you have this one filling out the lower frequencies. Also with a fifth playing, it's using the same wavetable here, which is inherently playing fifths along, and then we are filtering this. And what else is going on? Not really much here, a bit of EQing into the middle frequencies, and then another filter, 12 decibels per octave sitting on top, but this is just to add a bit of belly fat below this key. So this is the entire style. Now we have these instruments covered, and on top of that we just have sitting a vocal in between these pauses here, in between the long notes, and blending in nicely. So
Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
with a delay here as well.
Can't get you out of my head. I can't get you out of my head.
And that's it. That's the entire style. No pads on top, no Atmos on top. The Atmo element might be covered by this bridge vocal here. What a super nice style here. Oskar Mad K. Super simple, but also genius in a way, and clean sounds, very deliberately placed with the drums, with the bass, and with these keys in the hook parts of the instruments, and always some dreamy vocals on top. We will have a full playback now at the end of the video. If you enjoyed this, feel free to check out the links in the description to this Afterglow Melodic House Sound Pack, including this project file and 8 others, plus a great sample pack and Serum presets. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description for a full Melodic House Academy, our class on music theory for electronic music production, vocal packs, our drum series D Premium, our full arrangement course, and also the PML Everything Bundle, the greatest deal in our store. Feel free to check that out as well. I'm also throwing in a link to a playback of this track. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment below what you want to see next. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I can get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head.